everyone, and welcome to our session, AI applications for administrators. This session will go until 11:50. So I want to get started by simply saying that AI is a huge topic. We could talk for hours and days and weeks about it and never get to the end of it. Today is just about a brief introduction to the way this can be a revolutionary partner for education. It's already proving to do some amazing things for educators. So we're going to move forward with the introductions. I'm joined today by Renee Hibbard. She is the CRISA Director, Deeper Learning Director, and Access Director at Southeast South Central Co-op. I'm Crystal Doolin. I'm a Deeper Learning Consultant with the Southeast South Central Educational Co-op. We're just going to start off with a simple definition. You really can't make this too simple, but this is as simple as it gets. Artificial intelligence, AI, is a technology that enables machines to think, notice that's in quotes, and make decisions based on previous learning, just as humans do. But unlike humans, AI programs can process large amounts of data at unbelievable speeds. Now, that's a definition for educators, for everyday folks. There's a million other ways you could define that, and you could get way more specific about it, but that's as detailed as we're going to get with what we're doing today. What happens usually when people mention AI is that their gut reaction is, I'm not going to use that. I don't use AI, but it's really not new. And if you use technology, you use AI. You could be using it in your Roomba in your house and don't realize it. Your Face ID on your phone, the components of Netflix that figure out what to recommend for you to watch if you have an Alexa or a Google in your home. And there's a host of other things. So AI is not really new. It's all around us all the time. We're using it and we just didn't realize it. What's happened and what's changed is that in recent years, we've reached a new level of innovation with generative AI, which is a deep learning model that can create new content. So it can create things like text, images, music, code, and more. And when that was released to the public on November 30th, 2022, it prompted an explosion, access, tools, ways to use it for more things than they even imagined because it was in the hands of the public. And of course, that trickled into the hands of educators really fast, into the hands of students really fast. And from there, it's just been growing. And now we have a plethora of tools that we can use in a lot of different realms, not just in education. So it doesn't just impact education. It doesn't just impact technology. This is going to change everything. And I can sit here and say it all day long because I do believe passionately that it is going to change everything. But I would rather just let you hear it from one of the people who was actually involved in this technology. This is Kai-Fu Lee, a Taiwanese computer scientist who was in a 60 Minutes interview several years ago. He's also been in other interviews that you can watch, but I really like this particular clip. Pretty impactful when you say more than electricity. It's going to impact mankind. We don't even know the ramifications that this is going to entail, as it rolls forward. What we do know, is that it matters for education. So why does it matter for education? There's a gazillion articles and books and things, out there right now talking about this, but these particular quotes kind of stood out to me, so I wanted to share them with you all. The World Economic Forum projects job losses of 85 million by 2025. But it also estimates that AI will create 97 million jobs, which is more jobs. So their advice to workers is to start reskilling. That was from the Wall Street Journal back in April. One of the interesting things about that study is that it is not coming for electricians, plumbers, those types of hands-on workers. It's coming for people that are doing the more repetitive jobs, secretaries, bankers, things like that. And you can follow that link. This entire slideshow is in your resources. You can follow that link and read it yourself. But it is interesting to see the types of skills that are going to need to sort of switch up. Holly Clark, who wrote a fabulous book, The AI Infused Classroom, said, experts believe that by the time our current kindergartners graduate from high school or even college, AI could be 1 billion times more advanced than human intelligence. From the GBT Morning Edition, I felt like this is a really powerful quote. According to the Houghton Mifflin Harcourt survey, educators don't feel confident in their abilities to use AI tools. Only 1 in 5 teachers say they feel equipped to use those tools in their classroom. And that's understandable. This is all new. And I don't believe we need to go, guns blazing into the classroom with it, but I do believe that we need to start educating teachers and allowing them to get their feet wet and learn about these things for the classroom. What's really nice is that now we have official support for AI in education taking shape, I should say. In your resources, you'll find a link to the AI executive order from President Biden back in November, as well as KDE's Office of Educational Technology and their CATS master plan. Both of these are supportive of using AI in education and asking educators to utilize this tool as a means to help students grow. And rather than preparing students for our future, prepare them for their future, because their future is going to include AI. Ours is as well, but theirs is dramatically different than ours, and we've got to start preparing them for it today. So when it gets down to it, you kind of have to stop and think, well, where do we start? Because it is huge, and you don't, like I said, want to go guns blazing into the classroom with these tools that we're really not equipped and ready for. So all students will need AI literacy, and that's where one place that we can start in the classroom. AI literacy is the ability to think critically about artificial intelligence and both use and evaluate it. So we need our students to be able to evaluate the use of AI and understand how it happens. So in 10 years, when they're eligible to vote, or in 1 year for some of them, they're able to look at a political ad and understand that it possibly was created by artificial intelligence. There are a lot of articles out there and a lot of really thoughtful people who are sharing concerns about, AI being the downfall of democracy if we don't teach our students how to use it and how to evaluate it. It's sort of like we've taken digital citizenship to a higher level now. It's along those same lines with informational technology. We have to teach our students to be prepared for it, and that would come with AI literacy in the classroom. So looking not just at teaching students AI literacy in the same way that we would teach digital citizenship, how can AI enhance learning in the classroom? Obviously we don't want this to just be some tool that is another thing to add to teachers' plates and another gimmick for students to use. And I know that the big concern for many teachers is students using it to cheat. So why would we want to bring it into the classroom? But AI can enhance learning in a lot of ways when it's used positively. And that comes from us teaching students to use it positively. So here are just a few opportunities that it presents for us: designing for equitable learning experiences, focusing on process over product, personalizing deeper learning, giving students immediate feedback, and differentiation and UDL. And I'll just kind of pop back to this immediate feedback thing and give you an example of one way that I think this is very powerful. When I was in the classroom, I was a language arts teacher, and I may give my students a writing task, a constructed response or something. If I have around 100 students, it takes quite a long time for me to devote attention to the details that I want to look at in those writings. If I have access to AI, I have an assistant that can help me with those things. I'm still going to be doing it myself. I'm still going to be looking at their papers, but AI is sort of like an assistant looking for me as well. There are ways that I can input my rubric, input their writing, and let it kind of help me and guide me so that I can do that faster. There are a ton of other things that I could mention with each of these, but that's just one that stands out to me. And I know would mean a lot for a lot of your teachers. I think automatically about how having that assistant could alleviate so much from a teacher's plate, that stands out to me as a very powerful force. So what does it look like in the classroom? If I'm a teacher and yeah, I use it as an assistant to help me prepare lessons or evaluate something that I have students write in the way that I mentioned a moment ago, what else can I use it for? How is it actually going to be used with my students? These are just some examples. This is from a piece by Eric Kurtz, a fabulous, fabulous person from Ohio. I have all this linked again for you in your resources. But one example is I can use it as a teacher, or my students can use it to, when they're the right age, we'll get to that in a moment. They can use it to determine the reading level of a text, or rewrite a text at a new level or in a new language. We can also generate model writing for students to use as exemplars, which takes teachers hours of work and can be done in just a couple minutes with AI. We can evaluate student writing, as I mentioned a few moments ago, and provide quick, specific feedback for conferencing that is more timely. We can actually debate with AI on a topic, having the bot assume a particular position or personality. We can provide problem-solving assistance in math for students who are struggling or for students who are working ahead, so that it frees the teacher up to work with other groups. We can actually speak to AI as if it were a character from a book or a person from history, a person from a certain job, a different place in the world, a different time, an animal, or an object. One of my favorite examples that I've seen is speaking to AI as if it were the ocean. You essentially set the bot up, you tell the bot to speak as if it were the ocean, and it will respond to questions about the ocean as if it were a person talking to us. I've also done some things with teachers with AI performing as like Susan B. Anthony and being able to talk to students and answer questions through a chat. So some really interesting and creative ways that we can use it in the classroom. And this is just the tip of the iceberg. I do want to mention now that if you are utilizing it in the classroom, there are, of course, laws. You know, we have privacy laws that we have to honor. And obviously, when you're educating your teachers about these things, those are the details that you'll want to jump on and make sure they understand. For example, students 13 and above, you know, there are rules against them using AI and creating their own profile. Students at a higher level with the right permissions in place are able to create their own profile depending on your school district's policies. So you'll want to set those policies up, educate the teachers about the federal laws, your policies, and make sure that all the things that they're doing in the classroom are falling under that umbrella. So looking at this from an administrator perspective, how can AI save time and make workflow more efficient at the school level? These are just some ideas, and I'm actually going to demo a couple things for you here in just a moment. But if we can just go through these briefly. I know that there are so many things that you do in your role that AI could perform as an assistant in and make your role a lot lighter. AI can plan PD. There are ways that you can interact with the AI bot, and it can help you plan out everything you need for your PD for your teachers. It can analyze data. It can analyze data that it takes humans months to analyze in just a few moments. It can draft emails and other documents. It can prepare materials for faculty meetings. getting to administrators and teachers. It can also help with IEP planning and paperwork. Scheduling is a huge one that it can help with. Lesson planning and grading, of course, that's for your teachers, but that's a workflow thing in your building. And summarizing text. When you're sent like a 20-page long PDF, it can actually summarize that text for you, looking for particular components that you're looking for, because I know you get a lot of things to read, a lot of things via email. It can cut the time down on that and sort of cut to the chase of what you need to find out. So essentially, you're cutting time that is normally spent on repetitive tasks to free up.
Good morning.
To free up you and
A
your
little
staff.
stressed, but I'm all right. You're not on
Can you
campus,
please
are you?
mute? Sorry. Thank you. So it can free up both you and your staff for other needs. Think about, if the bookkeeper in your office or the secretary in your office were able to utilize this tool to streamline some of the things that take them a lot of time to do, you would free them up to be able to devote their attention to other things that they need to get done and lighten that load. So I'm going to take just a moment to do a quick demo with you. In your materials, you'll see this link to just a couple prompts that you might use with ChatGPT, or you can also use Google Bard, just as a preference sort of a thing. I'm going to use ChatGPT for what we're doing today. I have several on there, but we don't necessarily have time for as many as, we would love to go through. I just want to share a couple so you can sort of see it in action. I will tell you as well that when you create your account with ChatGPT, if you've never created one, that it is going to set up a security system, send you a text message on your phone to make sure you're really you. So it does take a couple minutes to set it up. But once you're, set up, you're there and running. So a couple of things that I came up with for examples that might be more meaningful for principals are teacher evaluations. If I am a principal, I'm obviously doing a lot of teacher evaluations, and this could be walkthroughs or full evaluations, it just depends. So one thing that I wanted to share with you is that you can actually tell the bot, as this says here, you are an elementary principal with expertise in providing actionable feedback to teachers based on classroom observations. You're giving it a persona. Create an observation report using the Danielson framework. I will provide you with a lesson plan and observation notes. I need you to rate the following components. And then we have 3 components from Danielson. So I can input this in ChatGPT. So I have this open already. Down here's where I'm going to put my message. Paste that in there. And ChatGPT is going to say, certainly, I'll help you, share with me what you need to share. So the next thing I'm going to give it is, and this is a very generic, simplified lesson plan, because you would obviously have your teacher's lesson plan. So this is the lesson plan. And it's very simple. Like I said, it's a science classroom. They're building bridges. I'm going to input that. And ChatGPT is saying, thank you for providing the lesson plan. Now please share the observation notes, because I told it up here that I was going to give it observation notes. So I'm going to input my observation notes. Do you see how I'm just having a conversation with ChatGPT? So there are my observation notes. And now it's giving me feedback based on what I asked for. Now, obviously, with any tool like this, you don't just take what it wrote, copy and paste it, and you're done. But what happens is sometimes it's hard to think. Sometimes you have so many things on your plate that you just need something to get you going. You need some new ideas, and that's what this can do. It's an assistant that allows you sort of a way to expand yourself, so that you're coming up with more ideas, you're able to work more efficiently, and when you hit a roadblock, it opens a door. Now, as an additional thing, as I'm going to ask it here, as follow-up, create specific strategies for the teacher to move up in his or her proficiency. So I'm going to paste this in because this is, some specific things I want that teacher to work on. And there it comes from ChatGPT. And you can see that it's very specific. It's talking about, some things that I mentioned specifically in my observation, and taking it a step further and giving that teacher specific things they could do, like 3D, integrate formative assessment into the lesson by periodically pausing the activity to ask questions related to the science concepts being explored. Use students' responses to gauge their understanding and provide timely feedback to guide their learning. That's amazing. And you can, take that and change it, edit it, use it in the way that you need to. Let's try another example. One of the ones I have on here for you is like a smaller version of what we just did. This is just a classroom visit. There's also one on here for an open house plan. If you were doing an open house at your school, it can help you plan that. But I want to show you how it can help you write letters of recommendation, because I know you have to do this a lot in your role. So I'm going to go up here and say new chat because I'm starting something fresh. By the way, it will keep your chats for you, so you can always go back to them. But what I've said is, here's the persona. You are a middle school principal, skillful at writing to convey a person's abilities and attributes. Write a reference letter for a student in my district who is applying to Georgetown University. Use specific positive descriptive words and be sure to highlight the student's outstanding academic achievement, exceptional personal qualities, and dedication to the field of history through her tireless work in her classes. Make note of her extracurricular activity involvement in varsity basketball, student government, and volunteering at our local preschool. In your response, do not make the reference letter more than 1 page and do not report specific grades. So I click enter, and it's writing the letter for me. Now, again, this may not be exactly what I want to say because this is being written by a bot, but I can take this sort of working draft and add my own personality, my own thoughts, edit it as I need to, and I'm done, which is, a lot faster than sitting down fresh and starting from scratch. And also better than having sort of like a formulaic letter. I know when I was in the classroom, I had to write a lot of letters for students for particular things. And I found myself using sort of like a formula, and this would help get away from that, because sometimes it's hard to make something new when you do the same type of letter over and over, and this can give you some ideas to make that a reality. Okay, so going back to our presentation. All right. So are there any questions at this point about ChatGPT? I'm sure that some of you have probably been playing around with it and using it. If you have any thoughts or questions that you want to share in the chat, feel free to pop those in as we go through the last slides. The number one question on most administrators' minds right now, as well as parents and teachers alike, because this is new, and we don't, like I said, want to go guns blazing and roll this into the classroom without having some things in place. So how can we safeguard use in the school system? There are a lot of examples happening across the nation that you can look at for all of the things that I'm about to say here. So you're not creating things from scratch, but your sort of starting point will be to develop and implement policy to support the use, because Arquette's master plan supports the use, address privacy, vet vendors, and outline acceptable use for teachers and students. And one part of that I want to mention is specifically is vet vendors. There are literally thousands of companies targeting teachers right now, targeting administrators, because they want to get their foot in the door. They want to be sort of like, the new tool that you buy into. But not all vendors are created equal. You really have to vet those vendors to make sure that they are following the rules. that things are in place to protect our students' privacy, and that they meet the criteria that's agreed upon in your district. So be sure that that's part of your plan. I see a question here that says, how much is this? ChatGPT is free. There is a paid version. And the last I checked, there is a wait list to get that paid version. Yeah, Renee is popping a message.
I was trying, Crystal. I was trying to type. Sorry.
Oh, that's okay. But Google Bard is also free. Most of the AI tools out there right now are free. Who knows if they're going to stay free? But right now they are free, and Google Bard is built into the Google system. It does have to be turned on, so to speak, at your district level and things like that, because obviously you want to have all the policies in place. But yeah, these tools are free, which is why students are using them at home. So if we do the trickle down from our developing and implementing policy, here are 3 things to consider once you have that policy in place. Provide staff training. Your teachers are using this in a lot of cases at home. They're learning about it. They're hearing about it. It's all over social media and the news. So you want to provide trainings that promotes effective use and sort of leads everyone in the direction that you want your district to go in, but encourage them to explore, because exploration is going to help them get more comfortable so that they're more comfortable using it with students. Because it is, it's a little bit of a hurdle, and it's sort of intimidating to some people. While others will be gung-ho, others will be afraid of it. So you want to encourage that exploration. Redefine cheating. We have to redefine cheating. We have to model responsible use. And when I say redefine cheating, I mean, in our world, for most of us, when we went to school and everything, cheating was different than it is today. There are a lot of discussions about what we consider cheating in the AI world. If AI is a resource and we're using it properly, it doesn't have to be cheating. And this is a whole other rabbit hole to go down that we don't have time for today, but I just encourage you to learn more about that and redefine what you consider cheating, because using AI doesn't have to mean cheating. And then implementing AI literacy to educate your students. And by educating your students, you're going to mitigate the misuse that might happen in your district. So that's a lot. I feel like I've gone through a whole lot.
Crystal, there's a comment that I think we need to address in the chat. When we're talking about redefining cheating, Kendall commented that we need to redefine how to access skills and learning, which is a very valid point. I just wanted to bring that out. And your 2 timer just went on.
Okay. And that's one of the reasons that I think it's important for us to start slow and build forward, so that we prepare our district for that, and we're able to educate our parents, educate our students after we've educated ourselves and our teachers, and we sort of have things prepared, because it is a moving target. It's constantly changing. AI is growing. So it's not like we can fix it today and it's done, but we've got to get some things in place, because we are educating our students for their future, not our future. And with all that said, because 30 minutes is not enough time to talk about all of these components, I invite you to join me for a 3-hour session on January 31st. We're hosting that at the Southeast South Central Co-op in London. AI for Administrators, a revolutionary partner for unprecedented impact on educational operations and outcomes. And there are some of the things you can expect in that session. If you are a member district of Southeast South Central, you can register at the link there, the bit.ly, and you can scan the QR code. If you are not a member of Southeast South Central, if you can email Renee or myself about that, we would be happy to discuss that with you, because the process is a little bit different if you're not a member district, but we would love to talk with you about that. We invite everyone to join in with us, and please do not hesitate to email questions or anything that you have going away from this presentation today, because like I said, 30 minutes is not a lot of time. I do want to really quickly ask if you're able and you have time, we have 10 minutes before our next session. If you would please provide us with a little bit of feedback, that's amazing. We really appreciate feedback and use that for our own growth. If you scan that QR code or go to that bit.ly, that is the Southeast South Central feedback link, and the title of this session is AI Applications for Administrators. And finally, you will probably get this link again at the end of the day, but I did want to share it with you here in case you want to pop that up and have it in a second window. This is your feedback link for the EdCamp today, and there's a section for each different breakout session that you go to. And we are out of time, so I'll stop sharing my screen there and let you all head to your next session. If you have questions and want to stay back, feel free to. I'll be in the room. If not, at 12 o'clock, we are going into our session with Wayne Young back in the main room. Thank you all so much for joining us.